It is time for your weekly breakdown on the latest in entertainment, sports, pop culture, and all things Milwaukee. This is Nothin But The Truth with Melanie Ricks. Now streaming on 1017 The Truth YouTube with the witty banter, latest trends on social media, and hottest celebrity topics, here is Melanie Ricks.
What's up, y'all? Hello. So today for us is Tuesday, but for y'all, it'll be Wednesday. So happy Wednesday to you. I hope everybody is having a wonderful day. My name is Mel, and I'm excited to be in the stew with producer extraordinaire, the Jason Smith on Instagram. Jason Smith in real life. How are you?
Here. What up, man? How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic.
I have to be very honest. I'm feeling really good about myself because Jason complimented me on my coat here, my jacket.
It's player. I'm looking.
you.
I'm like, hold on now. I mean, you did just come from some fashion stuff.
Feel me?
So,
You feel me?
Okay, I get it.
You know what I'm saying? It's so funny, y'all. So I went to Milan, Italy for Fashion Week, and I actually got back 2 weeks ago, and I was just saying to Jason before we got on air, I haven't even talked about that. There's so much to break down from my trip to Milan. But first off and foremost, I got to thank my creator. God is good because, listen, what I experienced in Milan it felt once in a lifetime, but we're going to experience it again. You know what I mean? It was a once in a lifetime because it was my first time experiencing it, but we're going to be doing that again. I was so inspired by the fashion, the food, the culture, the people, the infrastructure. They have streets and homes and buildings and cathedrals that have been here since the 1200s. You know what I'm saying? And you can go there and eat pasta and not feel like stuffed to the brim. You still feel good. You feel like you can walk around and dance a little bit. Our pasta will put you in a coma for 3 days. You know?
Done. Your stomach full.
What? That's it. It's wraps. And it's funny because we'll have pasta with shrimp and chicken and beef and whatever it may be, whatever your preference is. Yeah, no, they don't eat pasta like that. We don't eat pasta the way that Italians eat pasta, okay? They eat fresh, handcrafted with the most seasoned of cheeses. You don't season cheese. What is it called? What do you do with cheese? It sits and it doesn't marinate. It's gonna come to me in a little bit. But the cheese that's been cooking, if you will, sitting for 2 years, you know what I mean? It's stuff like that where you're just wow, they just do it different. And I know that here in Wisconsin we have the best cheese, but I'm gonna tell y'all right now, Milan has the best cheese, the best fruit, the best pasta. Jason.
Better than the meal? Come on, we known for our cheese.
And we're known for our cheese. I know we are. Jason, it was different.
See, that's too high. I guess I just ain't been that high class.
So I got to be honest. My experience was not normal. So I went with my girl, Jenna Washalewski, and she is the founder of Harmonic Harvest, and it is a non-for-profit, and essentially their tagline is Weaving Silver Linings. It's all about finding the silver linings in life. And she's actually in the midst of creating a global partnership with the brands Fendi and Bottega Veneta. So we went to Milan Fashion Week with Fendi and Bottega Veneta.
Ooh.
Jason, I'm going to tell you right now. That's why I say God is good, because this was not normal, Jason. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't remember I don't know about you. I don't remember the last time I sat and thought to myself, wow, I'm really happy. And it's not that I'm an unhappy person, but that thought doesn't cross my mind that often. The thought of I'm just happy. I don't know why. It just doesn't cross my mind a ton. I wish it did cross my mind more. Maybe I'm just not practicing the mindfulness of, am I happy in this moment? But in Italy, I felt so happy. In particular, when I would go to the cathedrals, I felt closer to God than I've ever felt. I also don't be going to church like that. So maybe that's why. And I need to get back into church. I'm very spiritual, but finding the right church home and where, you feel at home, it's the whole thing we can get into. But my point in bringing that up, when I was there, I felt a deep happiness from within. And it really was inspirational. And, it wasn't even about being there with Fendi. It wasn't about being there with Bottega Veneta. It was about being amidst a different type of culture, different people, and their ideologies are so different. What matters to them is different. And I don't know, I was just inspired by the fashion because even the random casual pedestrians were dressed to the nines, honey. And European fashion is not how we do fashion here. I went into a vintage shop and everything I came out of, first off, $125, that's all I spent. I probably got like 30 things. Like
For $125.
the price is different. Like it's odd. You can find real actual designer, like real couture, like for real in vintage shops for a very, very cheap price. It's interesting. I think they just spend money differently there though. So I think designer, etc., it means different to them than it does to us perhaps. But regardless, I went there and I was just so inspired by it all. And
They got different priorities.
different priorities. That's a really good way of putting it as well. And you know what? Here in America, y'all, first off, I hope y'all are registered to vote. And if you have not registered to vote, please do it right now. This is your sign. This is an extremely important election. We want to talk about priorities here in America. This is a very important election for many different reasons. We're not a political show, but we are going to remind you of the importance of voting. And I actually found out today that the Bucks were going to be on the road on election day. So I realized that today when I was at practice, and I immediately went to myvote.wi.org. I believe that's the website. And I said I would need a mail-in ballot. So they're sending me one right now as we speak. But find a way to vote. If you have not yet, please make sure you figure it out. Figure out where you can go register to vote. If you need to do a mail-in ballot, you can vote early if you need to, which I could also go vote early, but I'm doing the mail-in ballot. But yeah, are you registered yet, Jason?
I'm already, listen, it's impossible for me not to be registered. Every time I walk outside, it's 5 people out there. You registered to vote? And listen, a couple times, I remember the first couple times a couple years ago, I was trying to avoid them. They got
that's
to me.
funny. And you know what? I get that. The thing is, Jason, until you really start to educate yourself, it's so easy to be like, it's just one vote. My vote don't matter. But think about it. If everyone thinks that way, if 3rd Street Market Hall, if everybody out there thinks that way, then that's hundreds of votes right there that don't matter because they didn't count because they weren't there. You know what I mean? Those are negative votes. And the thing is about it, this election is too important for you to think that your one singular voice doesn't matter because it does. Every voice matters. And that's the point in this. And you want to talk about priorities. Think about 100 years. Yeah, it's 2024. We couldn't vote. I think actually, I want to say that women started being able to vote in 1920, if I'm not mistaken. And I feel like we take it for granted so much, not only us Black people, but women as well. I mean, women 100 years ago couldn't even, they could, but they were likely or less to be able to own their own home because most banks wouldn't offer you the financing or the loan that you needed unless you had a husband, you know? So there's just so many normal things now that we do that we almost take for granted. I think voting is one of them. So please get out and vote. It's so important. And yeah, I think that priorities in America, they shift a lot. And it's very interesting that we talk about priorities because I think what's been on top of the media priority list is the Diddy drama.
Ooh.
But this is actually a high priority topic, I feel.
Super high.
There's so much that has been unearthed ever since Cassie's bombshell lawsuit last year, which actually was this year, but it feels like it was last year already. I can't believe how many people defended Diddy when that initially came out. And I can't believe that he denied it all. And then the video was released of him beating her in public. And then he said, oh, yeah, that's right. I'm sorry about that. Sir.
That apology was insane.
It was insane. Was it an apology?
Why would this dude put his phone up, press record, and then put on that act like that? Like, that was, did he really think that was going to go over well? Did he really think people were going to believe that video?
Yeah.
After you got done denying, saying that all of this is fact, I'm tired of all the lies that's been put on my name. Soon the truth will come out. And then 2 days later, a video come out of you in public beating a girl, your girl.
Someone whom you were with for a very long time. And, you know, a lot of people said that it was very telling the type of relationship that they were in because of the way that she kind of moved back into the shadows once she started dating him. A lot of there's a misconception that he discovered her. He did not discover her. He discovered her after she already had her hit. Fun fact about Cassie, I don't know if you know this, Jason. We haven't discussed this, but her single "Only You," she actually put it out on MySpace, and she became very popular because that song was very popular on MySpace. A label found her, signed her, released it. It became a phenomenon, and then Diddy found her from there. And that's why her music just kind of went away, which is ironic because it's like you're working with the most powerful man in hip hop. You would think that she would be pushed to the top as far as like, making sure you get this single out, making sure that she's commercialized in that way. So why is it that once she was with this very powerful figurehead in the hip hop community and the music, not even just in hip hop, but in music overall, why is it that suddenly she faded to the back? And now people are seeing, when you look real close, Jason, that they're paparazzi shots, you zoom in, you see her black eye. You see the way she's like holding herself. Like you see certain things that in hindsight, it's 2020. The vision is perfectly clear. But now, one of the newer developments, Usher, Justin Bieber, their involvement. And at first, to be really honest, when Usher came to be his name, I thought they were saying like he was a perpetrator. And I did the math for what the years that they were talking about. And I remembered that, I don't know if I want to say that Usher was one of his proteges, but Diddy and Usher had a working relationship.
Usher lived at Diddy's house when he was like 14 years old.
Which I did not know that. I only knew that he, again, had a working relationship with Usher when he was like 17, 18. I didn't know it went back that far. So, okay.
Called it the flavor camp, the Diddy camp.
Stop it. Can you explain what that is exactly?
So essentially what happened was Usher's parents granted Diddy guardianship over Usher. So Diddy was dang near Usher pops. They was in there. You heard Diddy talk about they used to be wrestling over the cereal and stuff like that. Like, what in the world? But so he granted guardianship to Diddy over Usher, and they basically groomed Usher. And Usher was saying, they asked Usher, would you ever send your kid to Diddy camp, to Flavor camp? Usher said, hecky nah.
So I'm sorry, Flavor camp? What is that even? In let's be like real honest here. Like Flavor now sounds corny. This is the 90s. So like Flavor was like, yeah, I'm trying to give you more flavor. You need you to have more swag. Like, that's essentially what it is. Now, if you say Flavor camp, the undertone is crazy.
That sounds freaky as a mug.
And because it probably was. And unfortunately, it's given R. Kelly. It's given he played in all of our faces. It's given he was telling us exactly what it was, but disguising it as something else. Okay. How do you feel about the people who have defended Diddy and continue to defend him now that these allegations have not only come out, because they've been out for a while, but like the proof is there. The fact that there's so many people now who are adding fuel to the fire, and not in a way where they're just saying, like, trying to burn this man to the ground. No, I think they're trying to dismantle the whole organization. And by organization, I mean whatever this corrupt system in Hollywood is. Like, I genuinely think that Cassie is leading the way. And I don't think she necessarily intended to, or maybe she did, start a movement, but Cassie may have single-handedly dismantled the hip-hop industry as we know it. How do you feel, though, about the people who still continue to defend him?
It's crazy because, like, first off, the history of Cassie, I didn't even know nothing about Cassie. Only thing I knew about Cassie was Diddy. Yeah. So I didn't even know, I'm going to be honest, I didn't know she had no hit song off MySpace. I didn't even know that.
Oh, you didn't?
I thought this was just Diddy girl.
So
like, that's why that's a shock to me.
You didn't know her as a singer? You didn't know her as a singer?
Not at all.
Really?
I know her as Diddy girl.
That's interesting.
Like, that's why when you telling me MySpace, she's popping on I got to go listen. Maybe I heard the song before.
Yeah.
I just don't know it.
Right.
Know what I'm saying?
Right.
But no, I don't like these people defending Diddy. It's crazy. Diddy mama just came out defending them, and I understand the mama, I guess. But when you got this much evidence, when you have this, and this going back, they've been talking about these Diddy parties before I was born.
Yeah.
They've been talking about how iconic and legendary and freaky these parties is, how you can't talk about it, and how obviously they collecting your phone at the door and all of this stuff. So I think people defending Diddy are the same people who were defending R. Kelly. And I think they're going to be looking stupid when all this evidence come out. Bro, Just now, it's over 120 more accusers accusing Diddy of stuff. And that's on top of everything that they already got. That's on top of the lawsuits that's already been filed. So I think that the people who are defending Diddy, like we talked about like before the show, I do think some of it is the black versus white thing. Like, hey, we gotta protect our black men. They always targeting why they trying to take down our black heroes. But I'm gonna be frank. If our black heroes is out here doing this stuff, and I'm talking about the fact that it's actual proof of it, we can't protect them. I don't care what color you is. I don't care what you is.
No. Now, so what Jason's referring to, essentially, he and I were having a conversation before we started the show here about how when it comes to our people, in this regard, I'm talking our people, but I think individuals in general, they stand 10 toes down for their people, whatever that may look like. In the black community in particular, because we have had to struggle. We have had to get it out the mud. We have had to go through the trenches. We have fought, tooth and nail, and that's putting it very kindly, to get to where we are now. And it's very, very difficult for us to understand that there are monsters that hide even amongst us, because we know a monster. We know that there were slave owners. We know that there were plantation owners. We know that there was the KKK. We know that there was Hitler. Like, we know that there were these monsters. And it's hard to imagine that we also have monsters, because so much has been done to us. It's almost like you don't even want to believe that we're capable.
But it's power. It don't matter what race it is. It don't matter what gender it is.
Yes.
Power is different.
And power does create a monster.
Exactly.
And you know what, Jason? I'm happy that you brought up Mama Combs. So she said in a statement, I don't want to misquote her. She said she is, quote, devastated and profoundly saddened by the allegations against her son, but she says that they are all lies. She said in a statement, although he has made mistakes in the past, as we all have, he is not the monster that they have painted him to be.
We got video proof. I just don't. So that's not a monster on that video in that hotel, kicking her, throwing her in a corner, picking up a vase, that's not a monster?
So this is the thing, though. What's their definition of a monster? Because when you have somebody who is not only footing the bill, but like has created, something for you probably that you couldn't have imagined in your wildest dreams. And not only that, the brainwashing is real. I don't think he just brainwashed his victims. I think Mama Combs is, I'm sure. And not to make light of this, but I do think that the mother-son bond, it is, I think it's tough for mamas to see their sons for who they really are when they aren't good people,
Jeffrey Dahmer mama was defending them. So, hey, listen.
I think most men have moms that will defend them, to the death. They will. That's just what it is. So I think that when it comes to Mama Combs and everything that she has going on or not, the issue with her is A, that she's defending her son, and B, people are saying she was likelier than not involved in the whole operation, especially because, more often than not, like, she was seen at these parties. She was, she was in these photos that are now coming out. She was part of, his gang, his village, his family, like, he never shied away from the fact that, Mama Combs was right here next to him. And even if you didn't notice her, she was there, and it's really hard to see her in these photos, be it whether she's one of those subjects of the photo or in the background. It's like, for me, it's triggering, because I'm like, what did you know and you just allowed to happen?
And you got to think about it. So that how they used to say, well, not used to say, they still say every woman around him had to have white fingernails. Like, they had to have their fingernails painted white. Like, that was something that had to. And if you look at any picture with Diddy with a woman, that girl got her fingernails painted white. Same thing with his mama. So when you're talking about like how the victims weren't the only ones brainwashed, his mama was. I agree with you. I think his mama was brainwashed just right with them.
Well, and Jason, I want to tell y'all a quick story. First off, before we get into more of this, let us know in the comments, why do you think that people, in particular men, I think, well, for me, I have seen an overwhelming majority of men defend, black men, but like men in general, defending Diddy. Let us know in the comments, why do you think that is, even after all of the video evidence we've now seen, after knowing that there's over 100 accusers, both men and women, that are coming forward, and they say that there's a lot more that's yet to see the light of day, but will see the light of day eventually. Why is it that you think these people are still defending him? Let us know in the comments. But real quick, so Demi Lovato, she became famous at a young age. She was on Barney and Friends when she was really young, and then, as most of us know, she really became a megastar when she joined the Disney Channel. She was making, silly money, play money by the time she was 15, 16 years old. And I'll never forget a story that she told where, I want to say she was around 16, 17. Either way, she was a minor still living at home. And she told this story later in life about how she did something and her mom tried to ground her. And she said she looked her mom dead in the eyes and said, "I pay your bills. You can't ground me." Now, first off, I think that's a cultural thing.
Definitely a cultural thing.
But that aside, my point, he pays his mama's bills. You feel me? And he's a grown man. And when this is something that has been going on, not for months, not for years, but for decades, that's where I think about like the brainwashing of it all. How easy did it eventually become for her and others, whom we'll get into in a moment, to turn and look the other way and act like, oh, it's not going on. And not only that, Jason, I know you've been doing your due diligence with everything that's been coming out. It's a lot to keep up with, y'all. So don't worry if you're missing anything. It's overwhelming information. But one thing I did hear, too, was you could be at a Diddy party and there could be like 2 other parties happening on that estate that you don't even realize are happening. Because a lot of people are like, why was Oprah there? And they're saying all these prominent people where they're like, oh, you hung out with Diddy? And like they're giving them side looks, and rightfully so. I get it, because I'm the type too where I'm like guilty by association. Like it's easy to say that. However, a lot of people have come forward anonymously and not to say you could be at Diddy's house and there could be some craziness going on in the basement or in the West Wing that you have no idea of. And that's what's scary too. It's like, how did you choose who went to what party? You know what I mean?
This is what I try to tell my friends. Me and my friends, we talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell them, just because you are at the party, first off, Diddy, not every single Diddy party is a freak off. Like
I hope not.
I hope not. But he gotta mix it up. Like he gotta, you gotta keep save face. You gotta have some normal parties where you invite in like some A-listers, and then you got the other parties with the freaky A-listers. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
No, and not guilty by association. I'm sick of it because they keep trying to tag LeBron to this because LeBron said ain't no party like a Diddy party. Now listen, I understand that Bron said that, but that was a phrase. Bron didn't create that phrase. That was a phrase. We don't even know if Bron ever been to a Diddy party.
Facts.
All he did was say that phrase. So I think it's unfair to say just because you were associated with Diddy that you were one of the perpetrators.
Right. Now, this is tough, Jason, because, I want to start getting into that's a perfect segue. I want to be careful because it's so hard. So, JayZ. Oh, man.
That's tough. I think he the GOAT.
And I agree. And listen, y'all, JayZ is somebody who I think the way that he came up, genuinely, I think in the year 2024, I do not believe that a rapper would be able to reach what he has, doing it the way that JayZ did, in that, like, talk about how he used to sell cocaine, talking about how he used to gang bang.
He stabbed his brother.
I mean, there are a lot of things, and I know, like, the baby, he shot somebody in Walmart, but, like, it was self-defense, whatever that was. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to roll my eyes. It's the baby. But my point, I don't think that somebody could reach the prominence that JayZ has the same way that he did, because it was a different time. And I know that he's done those things, like what you just said. And, the fact that he did used to be a heavy drug dealer and a lot of other things. And I look at that as endearing because he came up so high, and he's gotten to a point where like he is so well respected. You know, he's a business man and a businessman. Like he really is so highly like touted as somebody who has, you know, reached success, has reached power, has reached wealth, but also has a voice, has a true platform. It like can literally change the world depending on his thoughts and opinions on things. And for me, I find it very unsettling that he may have known or been a part of what was going on. And I feel like I'm being very naive, but I really don't want to believe it, and I have to see proof. And with Diddy, I didn't necessarily need to see the proof, only because people have been telling us about Diddy for years. They have. They've been telling us about Diddy, and like I did still need to see the proof in like as in I didn't need to see that video of Cassie. That was disturbing. But like I believed everything that she was saying because the details that she went into and that other accusers have gone into, I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't think Steven Spielberg could write this. Like, I just think that it's one of those things where life is truly crazier than anything you could ever imagine in your head. Like 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
What are you doing with 1,000 bottles of baby oil?
Did you know, or so I read in one of the court filings, he used that because he didn't want his victims to escape. Like, yes, I know. So it sounds like it was used for freaky things, which it probably was. But they said they would oil them from head to toe so that it made it harder for them to leave. They got slippery. Yeah, I'm not kidding. And it's like, so if that was the primary use, because that's what I read, that's what it said. That's, again, what one of the accusers said. If that was the primary use, you mean to tell me you had 1,000 bottles of baby oil waiting for your next potential victims? Like you just had it stocked? Because think about that, Jason. Real talk, for real, think about it before we get back into the JayZ of it all. What do you, like, honestly, what do you think those bottles of baby oil were used for? Because I thought freakiness, but I wasn't thinking, like, what exactly it was for. So when I read that it was to inhibit people from escaping, I was like, that is one of the craziest things I've ever heard.
That's more sick, almost.
It's way more sick, but it makes sense because I'm like, I don't understand the freakiness of baby oil, of that much baby oil.
1,000 bottles is crazy.
It's crazy.
But I can see you probably, they got all oiled up, but now in my head, you could have oiled up like doorknobs and oiled up different stuff. So where it's sad, like you literally stuck.
Isn't that crazy?
That's so scary. Like, that is very scary, especially, what about people who didn't even know what they were getting themselves into?
Right.
Because you know that a lot of people, in order to get into the party, you had to drink.
Right. Of
the
course.
laced drink. So you was already messed up from the beginning,
yeah,
dog.
It was sad. And then to add that layer onto it, you know, and to have that thought like Jason, how sick in the head do you have to be? Like, to even think that way.
That's why I say it's that money and power. I think it turned you into a different beast. There ain't nothing wrong with money now.
No.
But
there's nothing wrong with power.
Yeah, it ain't nothing wrong with power. It's just when you use that in order to manipulate, when you use that to oppress, when you use that to take advantage of other people using it, that's when it become the devil.
Yes. And, I mean, we talked earlier about the importance of getting out to vote. JayZ wasn't the only one seen at these parties. Donald J. Trump was there, too.
He called Diddy. That's a very good friend of mine, and he's a very good guy. He said that about Diddy on Celebrity Apprentice.
And
he was the one chilling with Jeffrey Epstein at Mar-a-Lago. I'm just saying.
Yeah, make sure y'all vote. Please vote. But let's get back to the JayZ of it all. I don't want to believe it. I am going to need to see proof. And I'm not sitting here and I'm not going to, because I haven't seen anyone accuse JayZ of doing anything to them. And tell me if I'm wrong, I've seen people say that JayZ potentially knew what was going on and or may have been involved in some shape, way, or form. But I have yet to see an accuser specifically say Sean Carter did this to me. Like, what do you know so far?
No, nobody has said that. Like, the only person who's ever said something, like, I know Foxy Brown said something a little while ago, but then she came back and said, no, that wasn't true. Like, they actually had a normal relationship. However, I just think the JayZ stuff a little fishy. And I love Jay. I think Jay is the greatest rapper of all time. He Hall of Fame Hove, did it all without a pen. I respect him when it comes to this game. I'm just afraid that he was a part of it. And it's crazy because, like, on social media, which is It's crazy to use social media. However, it is crazy because he went from 4.4 million followers to 800,000.
Who?
Overnight.
Who?
JayZ. If you go to JayZ Instagram now, it's probably going to be around 900, unless it went up. It was at 4.4 million followers, and then it dropped. Beyonce stuff dropped too. And that's like, wait, what is happening right now?
Wow.
Are we talking about the power? JayZ is a billionaire, not just a billionaire. He worth, I think, like 2.7 billion. So like he higher up. I don't want to believe it, Mel, because I really don't want to believe it. I done learned so much philosophy from JayZ. So much. I was listening to JayZ, the Black album, yesterday driving in the car. So I pray to God he not involved with this, but I will not be shocked.
So, Suge Knight claims JayZ, Dr. Dre, okay, I don't want to misquote anybody. Oh, sorry, Russell Simmons, Clive Davis, Jimmy Levine, a lot of people. And as we
Everybody
know,
you named, I didn't know nothing about Dr. Dre, but the other ones, Clive Davis and Jimmy, yeah, I already know them.
and that's, oh my gosh. Okay, so they said that he said that they were privy to his alleged criminal activity. And this is the thing. I think it's hard to believe that anybody who was in Diddy's inner circle at any point in life didn't know. Because and I've heard that he would beat and berate his assistants. Like, he abused them too. He abused them as well. And that's what's scary about it. What did you do to these people that made them, you know what I mean? Like, are there NDAs? I'm sure there are. Did you threaten them? I'm sure he did. Is there money involved? Yep, I bet there is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't imagine just how deep this all goes. Like, think about the people who would just give anything to say it all. And I wonder, in this instance, can you break in it? Because NDAs, those are legally binding contracts. I wonder if you can break it. But I think after 10 years, they expire.
Eventually, they expire.
They do? I wonder. I don't know. I'm just curious. Like, Farnsworth Bentley, I need to know what he went through. Because I know he went through. You know, he used to be his assistant who used to hold his umbrella and stuff. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah, no, I heard of the whole little story.
Yeah.
See, the thing is, what I think, obviously Blackmail, because the house was full with cameras. So
Blackmail.
many hidden cameras. So what I think is he caught a whole bunch of people, powerful people, lesser powerful people. He caught them doing something real freaky. That if that got out, it would have been sad for them. It'll ruin their whole life, ruin their whole career. So I think he uses that. This is just part of it. But I think he uses that and hang that over their head like, hey, come on now. You know I saw what you was doing over in there.
Right.
You know what I could do to your career. I hold it out.
And not only just what he saw at his own parties, but like I just have a feeling he's that powerful that he does collect that type of stuff. You know what I mean? And back pocket that. I'm sure he does. He probably has filing cabinets with it. You know what I mean? Like, for real, I wouldn't be surprised.
They said they found cameras. They didn't even know you can hide cameras.
That's
like, what in the world is happening?
And like the thing about blackmail is oftentimes, in order to get, like when you're a powerful person with money that's blackmailing, oftentimes you are manipulating an individual into doing something. And then once they do that action, then you're like, gotcha, you did that. And it's on camera. So don't tell, if you tell, I tell. You know what I mean?
That's what I think he did.
Wow. So Diddy, for those who need to be reminded, he was arrested for allegedly sex trafficking and for racketeering. And I think that, and that was just, those were the initial charges. I can only imagine how much more is going to come out. But that being said, what happens next? Where do we go from here? Did Cassie single-handedly dismantle Hollywood and hip-hop in the industry as we know it? Do you think it'll actually change anything? Let us know in the comments how you feel about that. Because Jason and I, we were also talking before the show about the movie industry. Like, we know that the Me Too movement, that changed a lot. But I feel like a lot of the changes are things that are public-facing. I want to know, are there still casting couches, like low-key? Because it's hard for me to believe that everybody's just gonna all of a sudden tighten up and, not like I'm sorry. So I am curious, and I actually I know one person. I know two people actually. One is a dancer, and one is a Disney Channel star. And I've asked the Disney Channel star's parents how you navigate all that, and they were like, "Oh, she doesn't do anything without us." I was like, "See, and that's great parenting." But what happens when she turns 18? You know what I mean? And Disney Channel, don't even get me started. Like you want to talk about the Justin Bieber of it all, which we only started getting into a little bit because we only, touched on Usher. But like the Justin Bieber of it all, a similar situation where his parents allowed these adults to take care of their child. And what's sad, Jason, is on one hand, I get it. You're still working. You don't have the means. You have other children at home. Whatever the situation is, I get it. But why not have an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent, somebody that you know personally? You're going to rely on these people in the industry who you don't know. And what's crazy, a lot of people, I think, tend to trust like celebrities, I guess. Yeah, I'll just say celebrities because they just assume, oh, you're a public figure, so you won't do anything wrong. Like that's an honest to goodness like misconception that I think a lot of us regulars have where like, yeah, they're famous, so it's fine. I can trust them. No, you can't.
I think that's exactly why you cannot trust them.
Exactly. Kyle Massey from That's So Raven, when all this stuff came out about
Corey.
Come on now.
I grew up on that now.
I did too.
My stuff.
Me too. But I'll never forget when a story came out about how he essentially, he was doing some dirty stuff with a minor. Yes.
When was this?
A few years ago.
Oh, I'm at the late show because I ain't even know nothing about this.
And it's really scary because he manipulated both the child and their parents. Yeah.
Corey?
Yes. I know. But I think hurt people hurt people. And, Justin Bieber, they say that he was a victim in all of this. And I can only imagine what he has witnessed. Remember when he went through, he went through it.
That whole little phase
I know.
Now makes sense.
Of course it does. I don't blame anybody who is young and goes through their drugs, their alcohol, their partying, their this or that. I'm not condoning drugs. I don't believe in drugs. Don't do drugs, kids. And I'm serious. I'm not just being silly. I mean it. But everybody makes mistakes. And I think that the unfortunate thing is when you have to grow up in the public eye. Imagine your mistakes being shown on TMZ. I would be canceled if my teenage self was famous. You feel me? Like, I was dumb and young, like very dumb.
Who wasn't? Like, you
Everyone
a teenager,
was.
especially if you famous. Like, come on, you got all the money, you got all the access in the world.
Right. And so I just like wonder when it comes to people like Justin Bieber, because I actually think that he's I'm a believer. I'm a believer. And I've always believed that he was a good human, even when he was going through all that. Because again, I just assumed like he's in Hollywood. He's growing up. He's in front of all these lenses. He's got a lot of pressure. But to your point, it makes a lot of sense now. He probably was numbing himself because of all the things that he was going through and experiencing that he couldn't even talk about. And this is like really sick. But his song, Yummy.
Yes.
People are saying, which
I knew this when it first came out, when the video first came out.
Okay, wait. Tell me your perspective on this. Tell me what you know about it and what you thought when the video came out, please.
So when the video first came out, I was already looking at it weird because I'm like, even before that, during the promotional,
why?
When he was dropping all these babies, so. In the beginning, when he first started about to drop the song in the video, he was just posting random pictures of babies.
Okay.
And we was like trying to figure out what is he doing. And then the video come out and, they eating at the dinner table. What the conspiracy when it first came out was that he was highlighting how Hollywood eats off of the children, how they abuse the children, how he was basically giving, a little biopic of like his life. Because he said his childhood was a nightmare. He said he wanted to protect Billie Eilish, as an example, from anything that he went through because nobody should go through that. So basically, essentially, Yummy was talking about what the conspiracy was talking about how Hollywood is viewing these kids and viewing these innocent people, and not just kids, but obviously victims, vulnerable people, and they were basically sucking the life out of them. Like they were vampires essentially, and they were eating off them and using them to make money while abusing them to get their freaky self off.
And it's so crazy because, first off, I love that song. It's a bop. I don't think I can ever listen to it
It's
again.
JB, pop star. Come on, man. He make hit after hit.
Listen, and JB is him. He's in the category of Chris Brown, of Usher, of Michael Jackson. Like, to me, that's my opinion.
Baby. When I was a kid, Baby took up. Justin Bieber was the biggest thing in the universe.
Jason, you can still hear Baby in a club.
I'm talking that still out here.
You feel me? That's not normal. And he released that when he was like 14. But to your point, there was a TikToker who went viral, and there's been a lot of different theories, but this one in particular, she connected different elements from the video to themes of innocence, corruption, and the white party specifically that Diddy used to host. And at the end of or not the end, but like in there were like the appearance of people dressed in white. Oh, that was at the end of the video. But like there's like little different symbolisms and like messages and underlying tones. I feel very much that Justin Bieber and many others like him have absolutely been telling us what's been going on without directly telling us what's been going on. And I can't help but wonder, when Diddy saw that, did he know?
Diddy knew. I think the people who knew. Like
they knew.
Like, I know they was looking like
sideways.
Oh, this dude doing a little too much right now.
Right. Let us know what you think about what's going on with Justin Bieber allegedly being a victim of Diddy, Usher allegedly being a victim of Diddy, and how does that make you feel? And what does it like? What does this even mean? Like, consider they've both had such amazing careers, and honestly, like, actually makes me emotional. That's why it's hard to like get out the right words. But like, imagine how much better their careers could have even been without all of this.
Without the baggage. And it's just crazy, the chain of events. Like, you got Diddy, who put Usher on, and you got Usher, who found JB, and you just seeing
it's a cycle.
It's scary, man.
It's a cycle. It's cyclical.
A cycle.
Yeah, cyclical behavior.
That's why I think those people, when you get to that level, when you get up top, I don't know what happens. Like, does something just flip in these people's brain?
Right.
And they just get evil? Or have they always been evil, and now they free to be their true self?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think that it's possible for you to, in a sense, be brainwashed, because I'm not saying, there's no excuse for what Diddy has done. Just like I feel the same way about R. Kelly. There's no excuse. I don't care. You can throw the Bible at me. There's no excuse. But like, I personally feel that it is possible to be a victim of your environment and to see things and it be normalized. And then, yeah, the power, the wealth, the hunger, the fame, all of it. It does play a part. I do think that Diddy deep down is an evil person. I don't think a good person could do these things. I think the fact that Usher, if he did bring Justin Bieber into it, because you're right. You're absolutely right. Usher is, if I'm not mistaken, he is the person that discovered Justin Bieber on YouTube, right?
Yes,
yeah,
he discovered him.
Because there were a few people trying to claim it, but Usher, I think, was the person.
That's what everybody, like, if you look up who found Justin Bieber,
right,
it's going to say Usher.
It's Usher. Okay. So in a way, and forgive me, y'all, I don't want this to come off the wrong way. In a way, people could be like, well, why did you bring Justin into that knowing what you went through? But that's Stockholm
I didn't even
syndrome.
think about that.
I know. But that's Stockholm syndrome, where you fall in love with your abuser, and I think that Usher brought JB in because he probably knew, like, listen, look at what it did for my career. And maybe he hoped that the same thing wouldn't necessarily happen to Justin, because Justin and Usher were, a decade apart. And I don't know if Usher was privy to exactly what was going on with Justin. We don't even know exactly what happened with Justin. We're only, assuming right now. We're alleging things right now. But that being said, it is very interesting when you think about the power of it all. And I want to share a PSA, because I think that it's not even about money. I think that certain people just feel like they can get away with things. And I think men and women both. And I think there are like certain individuals that are just wired to think, I can do this, I'm going to get away with it, and it's fine. So once I was in a club, and what makes this even worse, this was like the first night that clubs were like open back up after the COVID lockdown. And I was at a club here in Milwaukee. I won't say the club name, but like it was like their grand reopening. And so I went with my friends. We were so excited. We were ready to just be outside again. And I found myself in the middle of the dance floor and I was dancing with a guy. And it was nothing like, it wasn't anything like where I was like, coming on to him. He wasn't necessarily coming on to me, but we were just like dancing, whatever. And then at one point, this man grabs me and starts like grinding on me. And then proceeded to lick my face. And when I say lick my face, Justin, first off, I had just taken my mask off. And I shouldn't have probably because, COVID was still rampant. But I had the vaccine at the time. And I was drinking libations. So I was like, we're fine. It's good. We're in the club now. It's 1 a.m. Woo. So I have my mask off. But, like, it's still in my hand, right? Like, I'm dancing with the mask. Like, it's clearly still, like, a whole viral disease out there. And this man licked my face, and I'm talking like from my chin to my eyebrows. And I was like, it took everything I had not to slap him. But fortunately for him, I am a public figure in Milwaukee, and I'm not going to make a scene, but I wanted to. To be honest, I wanted to grab his balls and twist them.
That is, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Licking a girl face at the club is crazy.
I'm sorry, what? Sir, who are you? Where's your tongue been? Where's my cheek been?
Bro, you in the club.
I could have rubbed my cheek in something crazy and then came out. Like, you don't know.
He don't even know who you are.
He has no idea.
Like he don't know who you really. He probably know who you are.
But he don't know who I am.
Who you really are.
Right.
So like that is insane. Like
I could have put cyanide, some poisonous on my cheek. You feel me? Like
he too busy being freaky.
Dog. So my point is sharing that. I think that every woman who has been out, who has been around drunk men, who have just, or women, because women do crazy things too. Like, I'm not trying to just put it on men, but I've only had that type of encounter with a man. I feel that there are people in this world who literally think they can just do things and get away with it, and everything's just going to be fine and dandy. And I think that all of us need to take a good hard look in the mirror. And it could be, a cute little compact mirror if you need it to be, because sometimes you don't have a mirror available to you. But my point is, when something bad happens to you, you need to speak up. You need to say something, because when we allow people to get away with those type of actions, which at the time I was embarrassed. I was like, why did this man lick my face? Ew. Why am I in this club? I don't think I even went back to the clubs after that. Like, I'm not even kidding. I don't think I've been out in Milwaukee like that ever since that happened. But when those things happen, you need to talk to people about it. You need to talk to the person who did it and let them know right then and there that's not okay. And unfortunately, that's not the worst thing that a guy has done to me in a club. That's just the PG thing that I'm going to tell y'all. Yes, Jason, men just think that they can have their way with you. Like, it's absolutely insane. And it's like, I'm sorry. And I've always said this. A woman could go home with you and stare at you in your bedroom, in front of your bed, butt bare naked. And if she says no, then the answer is no. I don't care. But there are men who are like, nah, but you came here, or no, but you gave me the impression that, or you looked at me like this, or you let me buy you drinks. I don't care what I did. I didn't say you could lick my face. I didn't say you could touch me. I didn't say you could kiss me. Oh, I've had men grab me and literally tongue kiss me in the club. Yes, Jason. And it sounds crazy because you're a good man. You wouldn't do that. I know you wouldn't. Because I wouldn't like you if you didn't.
And because so I don't go to the club as much. So I don't really know what these people doing at the club like that.
It's crazy. So I share that because I think that there are a lot of women who have been assaulted, sexually assaulted, who have had things done to them where you maybe don't view it that way, but it is.
That's sexual assault.
That's sexual assault. And it's disgusting. And we need to make sure that these people know what they do, what they are doing, what they've done. It's not okay. So please don't be afraid to speak up and share those type of things with your people, with your friends. At the time, I told my friends, but I didn't tell them until we left. And I kind of wish I had told them before we left, because then someone could have handled him and then I wouldn't have had to. But
what's going through your mind when you dancing with the guy, boom, 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 and then all of a sudden he hit you with some freaky stuff?
I pushed him, and I was like, bye, sir. I was like, bye. And he just looked at me like, and because he knew. But I was like, what? How did we go from dancing to you licking my face in the middle of a crowded club the first night? that it's opened after COVID shut it down. Like, that's weird. It's weirdo behavior. It's weird. Like, I can be like kooky. I'm not weirdo behavior type person. And that is what that was. That was stage 5. It wasn't even stage 5 clinger. That was stage 5 weirdo. That was like, I don't know what you're capable of if you're going to just lick me in the middle of this crowded club. It was weird.
He might be crazy.
For real. So I really just hope that everyone out there understands that you need to have boundaries and you need to feel that you can speak up and you can say something, get security, go get a bartender, go get your friend, get somebody and make sure that this person is not allowed near you or near others, because I don't think my face was probably the only face he licked that night. I'm just saying, it's giving, if he didn't, like, he tried it with me and he failed, and so he probably moved on to his next victim. And I genuinely think that people like that are why people like Diddy get away with things. And that's why my point in sharing that, you asked about the power and the wealth. I don't think it's just that. I do think it's the person behind that too, because there are a lot of very powerful, very wealthy people who don't do things like that. Anyway, let us know in the comments, what do you think is going to happen next with all of this Diddy stuff? And have you ever had an encounter? I understand if it's maybe something that you don't necessarily want to share, but have you ever had an encounter like that where somebody crossed the line, or, you know, maybe did something where when it was happening, you were like, oh, that's, you know, I don't like that. But then in hindsight, you really thought about it and realized, like, wait, that person sexually assaulted me, because that happens all the time. It really does. If a man smacks a girl's butt, I mean, like, and that kind of stuff used to happen on the regular. Like, almost like it was normalized, you know what I mean? And like, even if you listen back to songs from like the 90s, the early 2000s, like, that's my favorite era of hip hop. A lot of those lyrics, I can't even really listen to them like that. I'm like, I think I just like the beat. I don't like the song like that anymore.
They get canceled in 2024.
What? Oh my gosh. 90% of the songs that we used to jam to, you could not release that now. There's just no way. But let us know what you think about the Diddy drama. Do you think that Usher bringing Justin Bieber in, do you think that that was a bit of Stockholm syndrome? Why do you think it was? Do you think that he did that because he knew that it could further Justin's career and maybe he thought it wouldn't go the same direction? Do you even think it went the same? We don't even know. Usher doesn't want us to know. He deleted those tweets real quickly.
Real quick.
And I want to know, how do you feel about setting boundaries, and how do you set boundaries with people? Because I know it's not easy. It's not easy in the moment to say to somebody, that was not okay, that was inappropriate, I feel uncomfortable, but we have to be empowered to say and do those things. But shout out to the gentlemen out there like Jason. Who,
yeah, we gentlemen over here.
You are. And y'all, listen, there is a such thing as people being not good enough for you. And if somebody gives you the wrong vibe, the wrong energy, touches you, anything sideways, you have a right to step away. I'm not condoning violence, but you have a right to walk away and get somebody who can take care of the situation. And I hope that y'all do. And I hope you feel empowered to do so, because we're not letting these people rule us. It's just not going to be a thing. I refuse. And if you ever need somebody who you need to talk to about those things, hit me up. At Melanie Ricks on Instagram. Please send me a DM. I would love to talk to you about it. And I would love to be somebody who's a sounding board, who can offer you advice, or, you know, somebody who can swap stories. Because I have no shame in the things that I have witnessed, the things that I have gone through. But we would be here for days if we talked about the things that my friends and I have seen and been a part of. Because I grew up in a time when, again, that stuff was normalized. And thank God it's not anymore. I thank God that we are here in the year 2024. And again, we've got a very important election coming up, speaking of. And I appreciate the fact that we are using our voices more and more, and that we have the platforms to do so. We have the social media that, I mean, really was on the up and up when I was a teenager, when I was in my early 20s. And now, I mean, social media rules all, and we have the power to make a difference. And when you go out and vote, believe it or not, that is making a huge difference. Even though you are one individual, you are one person, your one vote could change everything, including people like Diddy, who have so much power and so much money and wealth and greed and have all of these resources. But guess what? So do you. You don't need that same money as them. You don't need that. We're powerful as we are, as individuals, and we're even more powerful together because there's strength in numbers. I appreciate you, Jason.
I appreciate you too, Mel.
All right, y'all. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Sign off in the comments. Let us know what you thought about this conversation. I hope you have a gentleman in your life like Jason at the Jason Smith on Instagram, Jason Smith in real life. But I hope you do have good people in your life, not just gentlemen, gentle women as well. Because again, women are capable of the same thing. But in this instance, we're talking about Diddy. And if you are still asking the question, did he do it or not? Come on, you already know. The answer is yes, absolutely he did. We just don't know what exactly he did, but we'll find out.
We just don't know how bad it was.
There it is. Because I believe every single story that's coming out. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. I hope he rots. I do. He's getting, you know what, for me, it's him and R. Kelly. There it is. There are very few people who I hope rot. You know what? I wish that they could just go put them in a box underneath the prison and like just like a little hole where they could just like feed them bread every day just to keep them alive. But like for real, I think they should look at darkness all day. I do. I really do. Because that's torture. And that's what they did to every single victim of theirs. You tortured these people, these innocent humans who did not deserve any of that. And you felt like you were above that. Like, who are you? Who do you think you are? Yeah, these men are going to burn. Don't worry. People, anyone who's involved, we will not let them get away with this. Well, we appreciate you so much. Thank you for joining another episode of Nothing But The Truth with Melanie Ricks. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If there's ever anything that you want us to cover, anything you want us to talk about specifically, delve more into, hit us up and let us know in the comments. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. We'll see you next time. Bye.